This is task 3, which involves viewing issues for a particular student, which involves clicking on a student name to display a more detailed overview of the issues raised for them. So we're assuming this is going to come from the form created in task 2, where we click on a particular name and it will open a form. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create the form we want to open when the student is clicked on. So I'm going to go to, in fact the first thing I need to do is go in this form tutor group. I need to look at the name of I need to rename my list box. So I'm going to go to all, and it's called list 9 at the moment, so I'm going to rename that list students, okay, and because I'm going to be referring to that later on. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a form, which is going to be a form with a subform, and it's going to, I'll just go to Form Wizard, and I want to have on there, on my form, I want to have student ID and the first name and the last name, and then I also want to see the details of the issues. In fact, that was a mistake. I want to have, if I go to TBL Students, I want the student ID, the first name and the last name. And then I also want to have, if I go to the issues table, and I want to have the issue date, the issue type, and the comments and the teacher ID. And go to next, and you can see it ask me automatically if I'd like a form with a subform, and it automatically does it the one side to the many side. Go to next, and I'm just going to add a title, so it's going to be student issues, and the subform I'm just going to put issue details, and then go to finish. Okay, and I'm just going to go to layout view and make that a bit prettier so I can see everything. You see I've got a form with a subform now. Now the next thing I want to happen is I actually want this form to show the details of the student that's been selected on my form tutor group. So the way that I do that is go to my student issues, and I'm going to go to design view. I need to go to design view. Yes, save the changes. I'm going to go to here, go to form properties, and exactly the same process that we did before. We want the filter on load to be yes, which just means just show a particular record on load, and the filter is going to be student ID. So the student ID field, make sure it is case sensitive, student ID equals, and it's going to be forms, because that's the type of object, it's a form, exclamation mark, and then whatever you've called your form, FRM tutor group. If this doesn't work, it probably is that you've done a spelling mistake, so just do be careful with your spellings. Form tutor group, and then we want it to be list students. That's what I called the list box, list students. Okay, so just make that a bit bigger. Remember, if you're asked to evidence all of this, this is all things that you need to give with your evidence in the exam. And filter, so we've got our filter, form tutor group, list students, and then that should then load the student that's actually been selected in the list, but there's one more part to that. And so what we need to do now is we need to create a macro to open the form, and it will literally that's all that the macro will do. So I'm just going to say, go back to form view, and I'm going to go to student issues, nothing selected at the moment because there's nothing been clicked in the list box. So you can see this form is at the moment called student issues. I'm going to give it a better name. I'm going to rename that to FRM student, FRM issues of students, sorry, issues of students, FRM issues, it doesn't really matter, FRM issues of student, I'm going to call that. You can see the subform's got the name issue details. I'm not going to worry about that, I'm just going to leave that there. And then I'm going to create a macro that will open this form. So very simple macro, create macro, literally open form, start typing OP and it will appear. Form name is going to be my always the main form, so form issues of a student, and that's all you want the macro to do. So I'm just going to save that as MCR issues for student. MCR issues for student, that's the name of my macro, and it literally just opens the form. And then the final thing I'm going to do is go back to my form tutor group that I created for task 2. Again, I'm going to design view, and all I'm doing in the list box is I'm actually saying in the list students, I'm saying in the events, in the event tab, I'm saying after update, sorry, no, I'm not, I'm saying on click, MCR issues for student. I'm running the macro which will open the form when one of the list box is clicked on. So if I just go to form view and I click on here, and you can see it opens up my other form, and that's task 3.